Thank you for taking time for this interview.
Welcome.
Thank you. We are happy to be here.
Audiotec-Fischer is the most hottest brand in Korea. I think it's same to the other countries.
We hope so.
So I would like to ask a few questions instead of the fan of Audiotec-Fischer in Korea. Every Audiotec-Fischer lovers wants to know about more detail about Audiotec-Fischer, but it seems like so secret because you guys are never visited Korea.
So we haven't been there for a long time.
Yes, it depends on COVID and depends on a lot of other things. Yeah.
But we definitely will come there soon.
Yeah. We have a chance later.
Yes, it was. When we started with Brex, it was in 1992. It was always our target to keep Brex at the high-end level, 100% made in Germany. And that was the character, this is still today, the character of Brex, the reputation of the brand. And so after that, people in the mid of the 90s, they contact us more and more and ask, oh, can you make a cheaper line, more entry level? We need more products from you. And so then we decided to establish the second brand, Helix, to keep always the high-end level for Brex. Yeah, and then Helix was founded.
And the third line was in maybe 15 years ago or 12 years ago, when we start with the plug and play. We need another brand because the plug and play and Helix and Brex is a little bit different, but it's one family and you can combine everything together.
So the brand strategy was always based on focusing on the key aspects of every product range. So when we look to Brex, it's always uncompromising, which means no matter of cost, just perfect sound quality and the pure focus on the most sophisticated products which are available. Where Helix needs to cover a wide range, from entry products to high-end products, but affordable high-end products. And then in the beginning we had Helix Plug and Play from 2010 to 2012, but we figured out that OEM integration will be another future business. So we needed to find a new brand to bring all the highly OEM integrated stuff into another brand, because when you do OEM integration, you need to clearly focus on technological aspects, which sometimes make it impossible to combine everything in one product. So that's why we founded Match as well in 2013.
It's one family, it's Audiotec.
The concept of Match is totally different from Helix.
But from the beginning, whenever we founded a brand, we made sure that the products can be combined with each other. So it's pretty common in Europe to combine Brex speakers with high-end Helix amplifiers, to even combine Brex speakers with Match amplifiers, but also to use an Helix DSP Ultra with an Brex amplifier. So we always make sure that all the three brands interact with each other, work perfectly with each other, and they all share similar technologies. Like when we develop a sophisticated high-end tweeter under Brex, we try to make it more affordable and bring it to the Helix line. When we develop a highly complex unit under the Helix line, like in P6 Ultimate, we try to shrink it down to make it an OEM integration product under Match. So all these brands interact with each other.
Personally, I feel the Helix is the small Brex.
When we start with Helix, I
can see that.
it's a small brother of Brex.
Yeah, when you look
Our
to
idea, yes.
when you look even today to an Helix C4 and look to an GX 2400, they share similar technologies because we want to make these super high-end products more affordable. And for sure, you need to do small compromises, which would never be acceptable under Brex, not in any way. But under Helix, only by losing maybe 1 or 2%, we can bring that under the Helix range as well.
Beside the interview, personally, Mr. Heinz is my idol when I was young.
My too.
He opened the high-end market in car audio business.
Yeah, yeah, we
still
were the
remember.
first.
Yeah, for sure. I not only grew up with an engineer, but also with a commercial business side.
Yes.
So on both sides, it was more or less what I learned through my whole life. So I was born into this company. Audiotec-Fischer was founded when I was 5 years old. So a very young boy. And I grew up with all the ups and downs, the really stressful situations and the nice times. I traveled around the world and I got the audiophile passion for electronics from my dad, but also the commercial business side from my mom.
It's not easy.
So
And listen music.
after my school time, I wanted to be an engineer. I said I want to study software engineering. So I talked with my parents and I said, I want to be a software engineer. But on the other side, they said, if you somehow want to take over this company somewhere in future, it might be good to also study commercial business as well. So then I decided to study both. So my passion for software engineering, for informatics, was one part of my university time. And the other time was the more necessary part, because you cannot be a CEO of a company without knowing commercial business.
Yes.
So I tried to learn both and combine both. But the most important part for me was when I joined the company, we were right there to develop DSPs. And then my software engineering skills, my knowledge about software architecture, how software layout needs to be done, graphical user interfaces, but also the background of the software is something I came up in my mind. And for sure, Heinz is still the analog guy and loves sophisticated Class AB designs, power supplies. But my real passion is software. And today, if we look into a modern car audio product, it's full of software. We have a co-processor, we have a DSP, we have AD and DA converters, we have power supplies, and everything needs to get software to work properly and to communicate with each other. And it isn't that easy to develop an architecture around this, that all the single components communicate inside the device with each other, but also with a graphical user interface. And my vision of a software architecture made it possible that we could not only grow the software in functionality, but also the number of DSP products. Up to today, we have developed over 50 single DSP processors in the last 15 years, where 27 are still active in DSP PC Tool 5 and also in DSP PC Tool 6. And to have really and continuously updated software like Apple with his iOS is something which was always in my vision. DSPs could not be single units sold with a single software and never be updated. It's modern software products. So all these products need only to have single time software, but they need to get continuous updates all the time. And this is what I could bring my passion into the company. For sure, I love music and I love sound, but getting our company into this deep software thing was definitely what I like to do and still love to do today.
What he told me, we are a software company and need our hardware to realize the sound in the car.
It's well combined.
Yeah, the combination makes a difference. And this is similar when you look to modern smartphones. They have a hardware side and a software side. A good hardware with a bad operating system is not good.
No.
But a bad hardware with a good operating software would also make no sense. And combining both worlds is a pretty tough job. Yeah, for sure.
Really?
So at first, Heinz Vision taught me how hardware and hardware design and the ways to do things correctly and precisely worked out. And on the other side, I brought my vision in to bring software into the company. Before we were an analog electronics company, but today we are more or less a software company. And when it comes to software, there's a high learning curve. So you start with a single product and a single software. And then you develop a second DSP. So in the beginning it was PDSP and CDSP. And then we fastly figured out that if we sell DSPs together with a software package and never update it, it will not work because the market is constantly changing. The demands are changing.
Exactly.
And then my vision came in to get a software for all devices. So we then in 2011 hired our first software engineer who was able together with me to design a software architecture where we completely disconnected the hardware and the software. Because mostly when you look to other products, hardware and software is one product and then you can only sell it as one product. But for a dealer who needs to be able every day to use a different product, because with a Mercedes or a BMW and Porsche and Kia or Hyundai, you need different DSPs.
Yes.
You need different DSPs for OEM integration than for high-end systems. You need different DSPs when it comes to standalone DSPs or DSP amplifiers. And if you then would need to use all time different software, different graphical user interfaces, no one could ever use it. You get a headache. You need a DSP is not just a tool, but also it is based on a workflow. So optimizing a car for a dealer needs to be a streamlined, standardized process, which means independent if you do a match installation today, an Helix P6 installation tomorrow, or an Brex DSP installation the other day, the process of tuning a car is the same.
Yes.
And I traveled around the world together with my parents in the beginning, and now the last years, except COVID, a lot alone. And I'm talking to so much dealers and distributors around the world, figuring out their demands. And this was the idea to create a software similar to an operating system on mobile phones. So it needs to be disconnected from the hardware. We need to be able to develop more and more DSPs for specific applications, but also to develop the software more in-depth to offer more and more functionality. And functionality and hardware should be rather disconnected than sold as a single product. So today, when we do a software update, we even update products which are 8-9 years old for free. which is a good part for the customer, for the end user, but especially for the dealer. Because if you always need to remember, oh, did this DSP had this function or not? Did it have an input equalizer? Did it have a dynamic loudness control? If you always need to think as a dealer about this, it makes your daily business life impossible to work. So our idea was to have all these new functions. Even if we put a brand new function like DSP-PC Tool 6, we make sure that DSP-PC Tool 6 gets updated to 27 existing DSP devices. It's not only sold with new DSP devices, and it costs for sure a lot of money to do this, because we need to refactor and redo the old products, maybe even products we are updating. DSP-PC Tool 6, for example, for an DSP.3 or an DSP Mini, they are even not in the lineup anymore. There are newer products already available, but we still invest the money to update the products, to have the customer satisfied, and to have the dealer, when the customer with an older product comes back, the dealer does not have limitations in what functions he can use and not use. And this was always our idea behind the DSP-PC tool ecosystem.
It's not easy.
No.
And really hundreds, thousands or millions get it for free.
Yeah.
Customers, and they are lucky, they are happy. And also the retail price, or the price if you sell a used product, it's very, very high after 8 years. It's not zero, it's very good price.
When we designing Brex speakers, it's always about highest level sophistication and the precision and emotion in sound. But Brex installations do always need a lot of effort. They installing the tweeters in the A-pillars, mid-ranges in the A-pillars or on the dash. This is a lot of fabrication. But in newer cars, this is often a bit more difficult to do. There are airbags, electronics, sensors. There's a lot of difficulties to install it, and also the customers are changing. Modern customers sometimes don't want to see all the speakers anymore. Especially in Europe, OEM integration is a big part. So with Compose, our idea was to bring the high-end sound quality from our Brex speakers into a completely new way of doing speakers. Because before the market, there were universal speakers and direct fit speakers, where universal speakers in 99% outperformed direct fit speakers because they were standardized sizes, and you could put a lot of development time into a universal speaker, because you know it will fit in thousands of different cars. But a direct fit speaker is maybe only for BMWs from 1997 to 2008, and only in 3 Series. So in most cases, direct fit speakers, the effort into development is limited, because if you have a limited market, you also cannot spend 3 years developing a perfect speaker for a single car model on range. So what we tried to combine these both worlds. We wanted to create a speaker system where we develop the speaker on the highest level possible, and it needs to fit in all cars, but the comfort you have with direct fit speakers, which are easy to integrate, which are standardized positionings, where you can reproduce the results pretty easy. You have OEM connectors, so it's a 100% retrofittable installation. These two worlds we wanted to combine, and this is why we did Compose. We started with the Compose by buying all the OEM speakers, but not for evaluating their sound quality. We bought them to evaluate their sizes. You need to buy all the mid-ranges from Mercedes, BMW, Volvo, Kia, from all the cars to figure out what's the smallest possible dimension. And then with the smallest possible dimension, you start to develop one speaker, like a Brex speaker, like an ML3. We even had so much experience over the last 25 years developing speakers that we could put a lot of this knowledge into the Compose speakers, but always in mind, we need to rely on specific physical sizes. And then we had a speaker which had no mounting. We just developed a raw speaker, and the mounting, the car-specific mounting, was an adaptation we could put extra on the speaker, which means our 3-inch mid-range fits into 100,000 different cars, and our flex mount system make it car specifically. So you get the comfort from direct fit speakers, but the sound quality from universal speakers. And this was the whole idea about Compose. And now we have roughly 400 products already under our Helix Compose range. So this system, we are investing really millions and millions into the system, because we see that this is the future. Universal sized speakers, especially when we look to new cars, suddenly there were 50mm speakers, 80mm speakers, but sometimes also 70mm speakers or 200mm speakers, but with an installation depth of 50mm. So there are new speaker sizes in new cars, and making for all the new cars direct fit speakers would mean we need to have 4 times more warehouse space and need to also develop hundreds of speakers. But each speaker development takes years to really precisely tune a speaker. Developing a speaker isn't that easy to really get the maximum performance out of it. So our idea is to really only develop a few speakers, but perfectly, and adapt them with our car-specific mounting to the different cars. So we right now have 57 speakers and 350 different accessories for our Compose range to make the installation as easy as with a direct fit speaker.
It means think different from the beginning without compromise about the sound.
Yeah, no compromise on sound, but same as with the DSP, the comfort and the standardization for the installation needs to be as good as possible, because the worst thing what can happen is you try to install the speaker in a car and it doesn't fit. And there's no way to get around, because you cannot just cut out things, metal parts from the car or so on. Oh, I think a lot of surprises and difficulties, but also a lot of solutions. As we are also an OEM manufacturer, we learn a lot from our OEM customers, which is today. In the past, it was more difficult to be an aftermarket and an OEM company, but today, this is one of our key strengths. When we develop things for Volkswagen or for Hymer or for Kia or Toyota, we learn a lot about the electronics, how they work. We are seeing speaker diagnostic systems in the car. We are seeing intelligent alternator controls. We are seeing so many difficulties in the modern electronics, so many diagnostic systems. And we need to build products which work in their environment. Where in the past, we could just build a 12 to 15 volt amplifier, put it in a car, connect it directly to the battery. But today, even the connection directly to the battery is sometimes not possible, because there's a battery management system, there's a current flow monitoring, there are so many alarm systems, because today, And car stereo system is also a part of a safety system of a car.
Yes, yes, yes.
We have a lot of warning sounds for a lot of sensors in the car, and we need to build products which highly integrate into the car, but also interact with the car. We need to tell the car we are not in foreigner. We are happy to be here to work with you. And this is a really tough job. I would say one of the most toughest job building electronics today for modern cars, because it starts with the power supply. It starts with working high level inputs, bus systems. We need to interact with a lot of dynamically, acoustically changing systems in the car. And for all of this, daily we are working hard on solutions. So DSP-PC Tool 6 will have a lot of new OEM integration tools integrated. We need to better analyze signals which are coming into our DSPs, but we also need to interact better with the electronics, especially when you just put transformer push-pull power supplies in modern cars. It can react and interact pretty badly, because these kind of power supplies are not what should be in modern EV cars anymore. You need to be more efficient than ever to consume less energy as possible due to the battery monitoring systems. You need to continuously react on the voltage fluctuations, because in the past we had 12 volts when the engine was turned off, and we had 14.4 volts when the engine and the alternator was turned on. But today we have intelligent alternator control. So during driving, it could happen that your voltage is fluctuating between 12 volts and 15.5. But this means if you have a push-pull power supply in your amplifier, your output power fluctuates as well. Because when you have an amplifier rated at 14.4 volts with 100 watts, it means at 12 volts, it has only 67 watts. So you are losing 33% of your power rating. With all our products, especially with the products with regulated power supply, the output power is always the same. If you feed the amplifier with 10 volts, 12 volts, 14 volts, 16 volts, the output power, if we weight 100 watts RMS, you get 100 watts RMS at 10 volts, at 12 volts, at 14 volts, and at 16 volts. This is because we are using super intelligent, highly regulating power supplies. And this is one of the most important modern technologies we need to bring to modern cars, because old, high current consuming technologies are not working stable enough anymore.
Hello to everybody. I love you. And I know what you are doing in Korea. It's one of the most important, the best installation countries in the world. I know.
Thank you.
Head up. Yeah, really.
I want to thank as well all the Korean fans for all your support. And it's phenomenal to see that you're evolving the market so good, and thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to meet you once.
Yeah.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you.